On May 6, 2023, China's southern province, Jiangxi, was hit by the strongest rainstorm since the beginning of the flood season. A riverbank breached and flooded 4 nearby villages. Fuzhou City experienced heavy rain in many places. The province launched a 4-level emergency in flood control response. It's gone. It's all fallen. Look, the water is up to the knees, and the deep part is up to the chest.
Oh my gosh, the road is gone. Such a mess. Be safe. This is scary. This place is too low-lying. The water can't get out. Wow, it's so scary.
这个地方太低了，这个水出不去，看，好可怕呀！
呀，涨水哟，超过地势哦，从来没得过公海个水哟，啊，这个都紧结了，修不起来哟。自古以来都没得过公海个水哟。是啊，我们天前发不去，哎，给家庭落到那里发不去啊，人家那叫你，你说是落到你还能发？民作检修。
We were in the countryside. It rained very hard and through the night. Now the water is receded. In the low-lying areas, the water is more than 1 meter, and the usual roads have water about a half a meter deep. That was the morning. The water receded in the afternoon. Now people are all inside to salvage stuff, such as refrigerators, washing machines, chickens, geese, etc. Some people raise them at home. They try to salvage and move them to higher places. Our entire village of rice paddies was all flooded. 1 layer, 2 layers, 3 layers, 99% flooded. According to official media reports in China, since May 4th, 10 counties in Jiangxi province have experienced torrential rain. 34 counties have experienced very heavy rainfall, and 63 counties have experienced heavy rainfall. Fuzhou City was hit by torrential rain, with several towns and villages receiving more than 250 millimeters of precipitation in 24 hours, namely at a torrential rain level, with 3 counties receiving up to 307.7 millimeters, 304 millimeters, and 302 millimeters respectively. In addition, a riverbank breach of more than 30 meters in the lower river section happened, flooding 4 villages downstream. Yichuan City Emergency Management Bureau staff told the official media Beijing News World that the breach caused about 1,000 people and 10,000 mu of farmland to be affected.
It's still raining, so those who are farming fish are free to sleep tonight. They're busy outside setting up the net to prevent the fish from escaping. They say the dike has broken in some low-lying section. The fish have all escaped. The loss is very heavy. Look, it's turning into a big river, a big rice field. You can't see anything. You see the water is filling up to the top. It's so dramatic. Wow, the land up here is submerged. My goodness. Look, this was a vegetable patch before. The water has reached the top. There is a ditch below, but you can't see it now. Look, a huge area has become a big fish pond. From a distance, it looks like an ocean.
For safety reasons, we have set speed limits for the affected section. Meanwhile, more than 60 rescue workers have been dispatched to the site. Wire cages containing sacks of ballast have been placed to reinforce the protection cones of the railway bridge. The local villagers told overseas Chinese media on the evening of May 5th. The dike broke, the water was very big, several villages were flooded, the villagers were all relocated, the town's residents were also evacuated, the telecommunication was affected. Another villager said that he had never seen such a great flood for more than 20 years. It rained heavily from the afternoon of May 4th to the evening, and suddenly the water rose. Leakage occurred in low-lying parts and it breached the dike. The water washed over several villages. The dike breached and people were still sleeping when it hit at night. The water rose quite high and basically everything below the third floor of the village was flooded. He said, water swept into villages and farmlands, people were all transferred, and some were placed in the local elementary school. According to a CCTV report, the heavy rainfall in Jiangxi has caused rivers to rise, farmland to be flooded, and large-scale waterlogging in urban areas. As of May 6th, this round of heavy rainfall has caused 293,000 people to be affected in 29 counties and 6 cities. 10,000 people have been relocated and more than 1,000 people needed emergency assistance. Over 37,000 hectares of crops have been affected and 375 hectares of crops have been destroyed. 52 households and 84 houses have been damaged in general, and the direct economic loss is about 230 million yuan. A netizen said in a blog post on May 6th, "The water has been bigger than the Great Flood in 1998. I called my uncle in the morning to ask about the situation. It's another year working in vain. The countryside is all landslides and mudslides, and the planted bamboo mushrooms are all flooded with a loss of more than 100,000 yuan. Many places in the country are also flooded. Now the rain is still pouring down."
We were on the second floor, and the first floor was all flooded. I did not dare to go down. Anyway, it is 1.5 meters deep. The fridge, rice cooker, etc. are down there. We don't know. We woke up and found everything was flooded. People are salvaging things, however much they can. They're moving stuff upstairs quickly. I have never experienced this, so I didn't move stuff to high places. It's still raining heavily. It doesn't stop. So annoying.
Faced with a massive flood, people are now heavy-hearted and lamenting the difficult days ahead, full of despair. They say, food prices are already low and peasants are struggling to make ends meet. Now, this so-called natural disaster has added to the misery of the peasants who are already without any social security. It's only the beginning of May. There was already a massive flood in Jiangxi province. So why have the floods in Jiangxi been so serious in recent years? In addition to the construction of the Three Gorges Dam discussed in previous episodes that caused ecological damage and downstream drainage problems, there was also the problem of the widespread tofu dragging nature of dikes, the government's acceptance of kickbacks, and loose supervision of quality. Another major cause of flooding in Jiangxi province is the predatory exploitation of rare earth resources. Dr. Wang Wei Luo is a renowned expert on the Three Gorges Dam who currently lives in Germany. He said that the rare earth mines developed in China had mined those mountains in the upper reaches of Jiangxi to such an extent that they were bald, and a little rain could cause a disaster. Having summarized some media reports from the mainland media from 2010 to 2019 on the floods that struck Jiangxi year after year, he wrote in an article, "Predatory exploitation of rare earth resources, rare metal resources, non-ferrous metal resources, and other mineral resources have caused serious damage to the ecological environment of Jiangxi province, and the serious damage to the ecological environment has led to frequent occurrences of severe floods and disasters." According to public data, Jiangxi province is rich in mineral resources. Among the 150 types of minerals identified in China, Jiangxi has found more than 140 types of solid mineral resources. Ganzhou in Jiangxi province is one of the 3 major production bases of heavy rare earths. Among them, the identified reserves of yttrium group rare earths rank first in China. In his article citing a number of experts, Wang Wei Luo wrote, "Since the mid to late 1980s, mining of rare earth resources in Ganzhou has fallen into a chaotic situation with indiscriminate mining and unrestrained competition. For every ton of rare earth mined, 300 square meters of topsoil is stripped, resulting in 2,000 to 3,000 cubic meters of tailings, causing at least 1,200 cubic meters of soil erosion." Predatory exploitation of rare earth resources is far more damaging to the ecological environment than deforestation. Deforestation only shaves the mountains and earth, while the predatory exploitation of rare earth resources is simply stripped of the scalp, to use an example, leaving the earth completely bare and loose. Through stripping the ground, the surface vegetation is all but destroyed, and in the event of heavy rains, without trees, leaves, roots, and other vegetation to absorb and intercept rainwater, surface runoff forms flood flows in a short period of time and is prone to serious erosion or geological disasters such as landslides and mudslides. Soil erosion leads to an increase in the amount of sediment in rivers, an increase in the riverbed, a decrease in the natural flood passage capacity of rivers, and a higher flood level than before even under the same flood flow conditions. The increase in the amount of sediment in rivers also leads to an increase in the siltation in reservoirs, a decrease in flood control capacity, and a drastic reduction in the effectiveness of flood control. As each ton of rare earth mined causes 1,200 cubic meters of soil erosion, the riverbeds of rivers such as the Ganjiang River in Jiangxi province continue to rise. According to the public record, the bottom of the Poyang Lake rose 15 centimeters per year from the mid-1980s to the mid-1990s. The decrease of the volume of Poyang Lake is very easy to create flood disasters. At the same time, we should also see that the elevation of the bottom of Poyang Lake will force the riverbed of Jiangxi rivers to continue to elevate and the flood level to continue to elevate, so the risk of future floods becomes bigger. This is one of the main reasons for the continuous flood disasters in Jiangxi in recent years. As the spring season transitions to the summer, rivers in China are entering the flooding season. The tragedy of the past few years of heavy flooding in both northern and southern China will probably happen again. The onset of the heavy rainfall season has posed a challenge to the campaign of converting forests back to farmland and is likely to result in environmental disasters. In 1998, a superflood occurred in the Yangtze River. After the disaster, the then Premier Zhu Rongji called for the closing of mountains and planting trees and returning farmland to forests. So the reforestation project has been implemented for nearly 20 years. However, recently the Chinese Communist authorities have suddenly reversed that policy and launched a new campaign to convert forests to farmland. It has already triggered floods. Look, the muddy water is flowing down the newly created farmland on the hillside, and there is no vegetation on the ground. Under heavy rain, it is easy to form soil and rock flows and get destroyed.
That piece of land is our family's. What else can we plant? The government said they would cut down all the trees. What else can we plant if we cut trees down? This is what happens when it rains heavily.
Chinese people, especially those in the middle and lower reaches of the Yangtze and Yellow rivers, the summer rainy season is coming, so beware of the Communist Party's unannounced discharge of flood waters. To avoid compensation to the flood victims, the dike managers and government officials discharge dikes without notifying residents in advance. Moreover, be particularly vigilant about the subways and tunnels, which are prone to flooding, and watch out for the safety of you and your family's lives and property.